The holidays are upon us. For some of us, that means high stress. For others, it's a lot of joy and fun. Today we're going to talk with another expert with children who will talk with us from the perspective of what can we do to make it less stressful? What can we do to prepare ourselves and set ourselves and our kids up for success? You will have a few more ideas in your toolbox after this conversation. Does your child have a speech-language delay and you really want them to talk? Do difficult behaviors derail home life and you know the frustration is a communication struggle? Does your child see a speech therapist and you wonder, what do they do and how can I help? If these or similar questions are in your mind, this podcast is for you. Hello, my name is Dinalynn Rosenbush. I am a speech-language pathologist that has worked with children from birth to 21 for 3 decades. And in my classrooms, I see you wanting to connect with the heart of your child, but their speech and language skills create a barrier. So if you have a kiddo that has difficult behaviors, needs to expand their language or learn to say speech sounds, and maybe even receives speech therapy, stay tuned, because in this podcast, you will learn how to use your daily life as a tool to communication practice and how to do that practice. You will become confident knowing you are making the difference you want to make. And you will hear success stories of parents who have navigated these struggles already. We'll do this all while focusing on building deep, meaningful connection and confidence in your kiddo. So grab a cup of coffee along with a notebook and pen. It's time to speak in the way your child's brain understands. And that is the language of play. Welcome back. So many of us think tantrums. Ugh, how do I stop them? My child's having meltdowns and I'm so tired of it. Can't he just be happy? If these thoughts and problems are plaguing you and your house, I want you to know that there are ways around them. And it is very common that parents have these struggles with their kiddos. That is one of the things we do in parent coaching. We work on how you can communicate differently with your child, and then they respond differently to you. When you fill your toolbox with effective tools, you give yourself and your child a voice and understanding. And this calms the brain, both yours and your child's, so that you become less triggered and the child is able to regulate his own emotions better. If you're looking for strategies to help your child regulate his own emotions, email me at hello@thelanguageofplay.com and we can set up a conversation so that we can talk about what's going on. And you can leave that call with a plan. All right, now let's get into today's episode. DJ Stutz, a dynamic early childhood specialist, mother of 5 and passionate parent educator, and host of the podcast Imperfect Heroes, Insights into Parenting. With over 20 years of teaching experience, DJ brings a wealth of knowledge and understanding to the world of parenting. DJ's expertise in child development, coupled with her empathetic approach, empowers parents to instill values, build strong relationships, and create a nurturing environment for their kids. DJ is dedicated to helping parents embrace the beautiful chaos of parenthood with confidence and grace. Thank you so much for being here, DJ. I love that intro because beautiful chaos of parenthood with confidence and grace sounds to me so much like the holiday season.
Yes. So you can think if you're a mommy or a daddy, you kind of get to have Christmas all year round because there's plenty of chaos to go around.
What a fun way to begin. Yes, let's just dive into the idea of Christmas. We know that Christmas is a stressful time, even though it's fun and it's exciting and it's pretty and colorful, there's stress. And what do you have to say to parents that are experiencing the stress of, man, I just wish this season was done?
Yeah, I would say take a minute and sit down and think about what is actually causing my stress. So, do I feel like I have to buy all of these presents for all of these kids? As a teacher this year, I'm thinking of, what I have a classroom of kids and all of this stuff. And so there's that pressure. So, or maybe it's parties, or maybe it's decorating, or maybe my kids are having more meltdowns than they've ever had because Christmas is the meltdown season.
Mm.
So maybe sit down and think about what is it, and it could be one thing, it could be a few things that is actually causing me all this stress. And
Mm.
then once you do that, you say, then why am I doing it?
Sure.
You
Yeah.
know,
So
and it's
assess what
okay
it
to,
is we're doing.
if you don't buy that gift or make that banana bread for the neighbor, they're not going to die. And they're not going to turn their backs on you forever. If you don't make that one Christmas party or whatever Christmas parties, if you don't put up quite as much decorations as you're used to. Sometimes we have traditions that we've done, maybe that we grew up with, that we've done for years, traditions from our spouse's family, because they come with their own family history and their own experiences. And so sit down together and say, okay, why are we doing this tradition? And it can't be just because we've always done it.
Mhm.
Is there a purpose to it? And you can start taking things off of your plate that might help a little bit with that.
I love that you say, why are you doing the tradition? It shouldn't be
Mhm.
because we've always done it. It reminds me
Mm-mm.
of Fiddler on the Roof. Tradition. Do you have some advice for parents that will help them decide what traditions are worthwhile?
If it's causing a lot of stress, but the traditions that mean something, yeah, are the ones that hit the goals that you have. So let's say you're a faithful family and bringing Christ into that whole picture is important to you. Does this tradition accomplish that? Maybe it's service. Maybe, if you're not very faith filled, but you're spiritual or whatever, what are the goals that you have for this season? So for some families, it's doing service for others that really need our help. And so we can get our kids involved in that. And so it's providing a purpose to our family. Now, every family is going to have different purposes depending on, you know, how your faith traditions play out, your expectations. What are your goals? What are the things that you want to happen? But so, it's a little late in season, but you can still do it, is sit down and say, why am I doing this? Because does this meet the goals that I have for my family at this time of year?
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's really wise to really think about where do we want to go with our family
Hmm.
and are all these little things we're doing actually getting us to the end we actually want. That
Yeah.
leads me to my next thought, and that's expectations. And we have expectations that we have of ourselves, we have expectations we have of others, and then we have the
Mhm.
expectations we think we have from other people on us. Can you
Right.
talk about a way to like shuffle through or filter through that expectation?
Yeah, for sure. So when we look at the expectations that we think, or maybe we're pretty certain other people have placed upon us, let's look at who they are first off. So expectations from other family members might take precedence to expectations from a neighbor down the street that you say hi to once every other month, right? Um, and so really look at where do you think those expectations are coming. And then even it's fine to have a conversation and say, if you're in an office building and you're talking about coworkers and whatever, and it's okay to have a group and say, what really are we planning on here? I know that there were many times when my husband, who's still working, but now he works remotely and we do our own office party at home. But, we would go to these huge, fancy Christmas parties that um they would spend thousands and thousands of dollars on these huge parties, have entertainment and all this stuff. And really, we would have been happier with a check. Take that and split it up and help us make Christmas for our own family. And so, maybe talking about those expectations and maybe, and I love that you said that we think others have on us, because if you can have that conversation, you'll realize, you know, that they don't have that expectation, and they would be like, oh my gosh, no, no. you know I know for me, I tend to give my Christmas gifts to people who are not related to me at the last minute, so then they don't have time to run to the store and grab something quick to feel like they have to reciprocate. I don't give a gift so that I will get a gift. I give a gift because I value you and I want you to know what you mean to me. And if you don't have a gift for me, that has no bearing on how I feel about you. And so that's why I wait until, a day or two before Christmas, even Christmas Eve, we'll drive around and drop off things to people that we care about. But maybe they're not related to us. Maybe they're that neighbor, or, someone from church or whatever. Because I don't want them to feel like they have to go out and find something last minute and be in a panic.
Sure. Yeah. One of the other things in expectations I think that comes up is like there's a lot of toys that come out at Christmas. And then I know that my kids too we think about how many toys came into the house and how much will my house hold? And then
Mm-hmm.
you start sharing outward, and then, how do you navigate the toys? But I think my real
Mm-hmm.
question is more along the lines of what toy recommendations are really, really worth the time? The
Mm-hmm.
toy recommendations that you think, now that is a good developmental toy.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say about
I
that?
have I have a couple of ideas about that. Number one is if it's not helping that child interact with someone else. So maybe it's a game you play with a sibling, or something that you do with a friend, or go outside. The only video game that I enjoy is Pokemon Go. It gets me outside and we're chasing down the Pokemons. And I only play it when my grandkids are here. But at least we're outside doing stuff.
Mhm.
And so that's one of the key things for me is what are the what how are they going to interact? Is this going to isolate them,
Mm.
or is this going to help them build relationships? Board games are wonderful,
Communication.
treasure hunts. Yeah, absolutely. Um, Another thing that I do, and I have this available on my website, and I can send you the link for it if you want, but it's called donation bingo.
Okay.
And so before Christmas, it's a bingo, card. And I've got one that is more boy centered and one that's more girl centered. And they get the free space in the middle. But um and there's simple things like something blue, you know, uh something with wheels, something, you know, and
Fun.
and because really they don't need that many toys. I see people who have this toy room, and it looks like Circus in Las Vegas. There's just so much stuff all over, and the kids don't even play with three-quarters of those toys. That,
Mhm.
it's just the cool thing to have. And so I would even, talk with your family if you want to limit it to everyone gets 10 toys. So once we hit 10, and you don't have to pick 10, but I'm just using that as a number. But
You
once
mean
we hit
like
10,
you mean like all the extended comes together and then it's like stop, stop, that's enough toys in the house?
it's enough. Yeah, please, no. And so you
And then
can say, okay, you're going to get this new toy, but which one are you going to give up?
nice. So then give away those toys that you're done with and
Yes,
pass them on to other people that are
yes.
ready for more toys. I love that.
Who need
Now
them
this
and love them?
this digital download of the bingo, is that what you said it was?
Yeah, yeah.
Listeners, can I tell them that it'll be in the show notes?
Yep, I'll send it to you as soon as we're done here.
Perfect. Perfect, perfect. So, listeners, if you want to have an alternative game that causes the kids to interact together, to solve problems, walk around the house, look at things
Yeah.
inside and outside. This would be a simple thing that you can do with them. You can send them on their way
Mhm.
to do together, but it'll be interactive and relationship oriented. I love
Right.
that.
And I've had kids as young as 3 really get into this. I had a mom that she asked me, I sent that off to her, and her 3-year-old, as soon as she explained that we have so many toys and or so many things, and some families aren't going to get Christmas or whatever. And once he realized that he got his bingo, but then he was upset. He wanted to black out. He wanted to get every square on the card done at 3 years old
Mm,
because it was important to him that when he heard that there were children who needed those things. And
yeah.
so you're amazed at how generous our kids can be.
Yeah, the compassion and kindness in the
Oh,
hearts, especially of the
it's fun.
littles, it's beautiful.
Mhm.
It's really astounding. They can relate, they can understand. This
Yeah.
is fabulous advice that you're giving people, DJ. And tell me, um, if you were to end this call on a one topic, one piece of advice that you would want to give to parents so that they left this thinking, I can do this one thing, what would the one thing
Mhm.
be?
I think it would be to to have a conversation with your kids and maybe even map out your holiday. Let them see the schedule. Let them see maybe how busy it is, or maybe where there's some holes and we could go and do some service or whatever. But work that schedule out with your children, with your spouse, so everyone's on the same team and so that you're making those decisions. Like we have 3 parties in one day. We can't do that, guys. So which party are we going to go to? Let them help you work it through. You're going to have less friction when they have to maybe give up something that they wanted, but you get to choose what we're doing on this other day. And so
Mm.
you're totally helping them out.
Yeah, that's really good advice. I remember that situation when my kids were young and we had the calendar and they're all different ages and they all have the same school party
Mhm.
on the same day and they all need to bring something for it and I'm wondering how are
Yeah.
we going to drive and how are we going to yeah, it was
Mhm.
hard. So yeah, we had
Yeah.
to make those decisions too. Hmm.
Yeah. But when they're part of it and they know what to expect, and two, when you have that calendar posted, and so
Hmm.
they can see, oh, tomorrow we have this, and this. I know what's coming.
Yeah.
Then that helps them sometime because their schedules are so off kilter during the holidays. And
Yeah.
that can be part of those meltdowns,
Hmm.
that we're seeing more frequently. And so if they can see it and they know what's coming, it's going, now is anything going to eliminate all the tension and the no? But and you too, you can just sit back and say, yeah, it's stressful. New Year's will be here soon. And then we're going to wish it was, then we're going to look back on all these great memories.
Yeah. Yeah. And I suppose at this time of year, as much as possible, make sure we eat better, make sure we
Yes.
drink lots of water,
Get
make
the
sure we
sleep.
sleep. Yep. Yep. Take care of yourself a little more than
Yeah.
usual because the demands are high.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. And that's one thing, and I'm so glad you brought that up. That's one thing I would give the most attention to is keeping their sleep schedule as close to normal as you can throughout this,
As much as possible.
as much as possible.
Well, thank you, thank you, thank you for being here on the Language of Play today, DJ. I'm always glad to
Yeah.
see you when we have been in places together, and I'm glad to have your words in the listeners' ears.
Well, thank you very much. I'm so happy to be here.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Hey parents, I hope you found this episode helpful. If so, would you please take 30 seconds and share it with a friend who also lives or works with children? I would really appreciate it if you would leave a quick review for the show on Apple Podcasts. I read every review and it lights me up to know that this show is making a difference. Then come join my Facebook community, where you'll meet other parents who are dedicated to helping their children grow too. You'll find the link in the show notes. Thank you for joining me. Now it's time to go. Let's pop our kiddos in the strollers and go look around outdoors and see what we have to talk about